Hey everyone, and welcome to our three-part video series on red, yellow, and green light foods. If you guys haven't seen the Kitchen Makeover launch video yet, go ahead and check that out first, and then come on back, and we'll get started with red light foods. Okay, so this is where we're going to get into kind of a sticky situation, because I'm going to be asking you to throw away some food, or at least make it harder to get to. So red light foods are any foods that pull you away from your goals. There's going to be some general criteria, but our exact foods might be a little bit different. For instance, wheat thins are a red light food for me. If you're curious as to why that could possibly be, hang out here for a little bit and I'll explain why. It actually fits quite a few of the criteria for red light foods. Alright, so first up, any expired foods are going to be the obvious ones here. So anything that started to grow mold on it, as it looks a little bit fuzzy, is way past the expiration date, that's your first one. Go ahead and get rid of that. That's an easy one. It's a nice way to rip off the Band-Aid. Okay, but next up, we want to examine what foods are trigger foods for you. So a trigger food is any food that, when it's in your possession, is going to be eaten, and it's going to be eaten in abundance, and it's going to be eaten quickly, and it's going to be eaten without any thought, right? So an easy one here would be peanut butter. Peanut butter on its own is not necessarily a bad food. If you're eating it in moderation, you're eating it with just 1 or 2 servings, it's completely fine. However, this is where wheat thins come into play for me. If I have wheat thins in the house and I have peanut butter, I'm going to eat 40 to 50 of those bad boys without blinking an eye, and I'm going to be dipping them into the peanut butter each time. About a year ago, I decided that was not a sustainable choice for me. I had to go ahead and get rid of them, and I haven't bought them since. And in the last year, I haven't even one time had an episode like that, where that used to be every 3 to 4 nights that would happen. So just simply removing it from my possession made that problem go away. So that's your second one. Second main criteria would be trigger foods. Now, we also have some other general criteria. The first one being, does the product or food come in a bag, cardboard box, or a plastic package and have 5 or more ingredients? Obviously, spinach has 1 ingredient. It doesn't need to tell you that it's spinach plus all these other things. Wheat thins, on the other hand, have quite a few ingredients, and they come in a box. So those are another easy red light food. But for example, here we're looking at chips, we're looking at candy, pop, or soda if you're not from here, crackers, granola bars, all those kinds of things. Granola by itself, all those kinds of things are red light foods. Number 2, so the first one is, does it come in a box, a bag, plastic package, and have 5 or more ingredients? Number 2 would be if the label has to tell you it's healthy. So for this one, a lot of cereals are a big culprit here. They'll tell you this cereal is healthy. A food doesn't have to tell you it's healthy. Let's go back to spinach for a second, just like I used. Does spinach have to tell you on the bag that it's healthy? God, I hope not. So spinach versus cereals, I think we know what's a red light food between those two. Number 3, is the expiration date far out away here? The only obvious exceptions here would be like nuts and seeds, because those actually last a long time. But most foods should perish quickly, within 1 to 2 weeks. So if the expiration date is far out, that's another red light food, most likely. And then the last one would be anything that doesn't look like it's source product. So for instance, veggie chips. If you've ever bought veggie chips, they're like potato chips, but they're colored to look like carrots and spinach or broccoli or whatever, and they taste nothing like those. If it doesn't look anything like its source product, that's another red light food. I love to use the veggie chips example because it's so ridiculous to think that a bagged thing that's been on a shelf for a month or 2 contains veggies in a good way. But anyway, so those are your main criteria. So let me briefly go over those again. It's any food that is expired, a trigger food, has more than 5 ingredients, has to tell you it's healthy, or has a far out expiration date, or looks nothing like its source product. Alright, so now it's time to get to work. Grab a trash bag, throw all your red light foods into that, and bring that bad boy to Results Fitness. We're going to have a big bin for you guys, or big box, that we can throw all of our red light foods in. If you're not comfortable bringing bagged or open boxes or things like that, you can just go ahead and throw those away at home. Nothing wrong with that. But if it's unopened, bring it to us. We'd love to show off all the food that we're getting rid of. All right, guys. So all the information I just talked about is going to come to you in a email right after this. We're also going to be doing a Facebook Live Q&A on Saturday, June 2nd at 5 o'clock in the evening. So come check it out. Ask me all the questions you might have. I'm ready for them. All right, guys.